Question 21. Which of the following tools of economic analysis is used when data contains more than one category? More than one category. The answer is component bar chart. Now, which is option B? There are bar chart is of three types. We have the simple bar chart, which is drawn this way, something like this. We have another one, which is component bar chart. This one is components. And we have the last one, which is multiple, which is drawn like this. And so on and so forth. So this is when you have more than one category, which is the component bar chart, which is option B. 22. Maximization of utility is the goal of the household. I explained that just 2 questions ago, which is C, household. Now, question 23. Study the table below. You have been given the number of workers, total products. You are told to find the marginal product of the third worker. Now, the formula for marginal products is change in total products over change in output. So now you are dealing with the third worker and its total product is 49. So 49 minus the one before it, 26, over 3 minus 2. Now this will give you 23 over 1. That will be 23. So the answer is option A, 23. Now, 24. The consumer derives the same utility at any point on the indifference curve. On the indifference curve. Indifference curve is drawn this way. Indifference curve is drawn this way. This is for, let's say, commodity A, commodity B. So the answer is C, indifference curve. Number 25. In the analysis of utility theory, the basis of demand is diminishing utility. You know that the law of demand states that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. So the same thing with diminishing returns, which says the more the consumption, the lesser the utility. So the answer is D, diminishing utility. Question 26. When the fall in price of commodity A leads to the fall in demand of commodity B, the two commodities are A, complementary, B, substitute, C, given goods, D, independent. Now, the answer is complement. The answer is complement because for complement goods, now, an example of complement goods is, let's talk about toothbrush and toothpaste. Now, complementary goods, complementary demand or joint demand is the kind of demand in which two commodities are needed to satisfy one. So you need two things. So now, any effect of anything that happens to the price of one will automatically affect the current demand of the other one. Now, so you need brush. You know, people buy brush to brush their teeth. Now, anything that happens to the price of brush will definitely affect the price or the demand for toothpaste. Now, if there's an increase in the price of brush, now people will go for other things to brush their teeth. That will cause a decrease in the quantity demanded of toothpaste. Another one is car and petrol, all these things that are needed together for them to function. So the answer is A, complement. Why? Substitute goods are goods that can be used interchangeably. Milo and Bonfita, cowbell milk and Nunu, all those. So and for substitute, an increase in the price of one will cause an increase in the demand of the other one. But we have given goods. Given goods are goods not affected by change in price, but by change in income. And that given goods was provided by Sir Robert Given. These given goods. Why independent goods are goods that can stand on their own. So the answer is A, complement goods. Question 27. The mechanism which fixes the price of a commodity either above or below the equilibrium is known as price control. Price control. But that is option C. 28. When the quantity supplied of a commodity increases, it results to no changes in price, a fall in price, a rise in price. The answer is C, a rise in price. You know, the law of supply says the higher the price, the higher the quantity supply. Why? Because the supplier wants to make more profit. And this one is now there are certain conditions that can make this thing work. It is when you have many sellers, when you have complement and substitute goods. Now, when the demand for such commodity is increasing, and the last one is when such goods are goods of necessity that you cannot do without. So now this law also applies to this. So quantity demand can only increases when the price of that thing is increased. So that's why it's option C. 29. The charge derived from the consumption of a commodity at a certain time is at a certain, now they put the word at a certain time, that is average utility at a certain time. The answer is D, average utility. Question 30. Cyclical unemployment is associated with inadequate information, trade fluctuation, structural changes, seasonal changes. The answer is trade fluctuation. So this one is caused by when there is an excess supply and there is low demand. Now, another thing that can cause cyclical unemployment is when there is wastage. So it can also be called a deficient unemployment. It's caused when you are producing and nobody is buying what you are producing. Why? This one is under frictional, this one is under technological, this one is seasonal. So the answer is B, number 31 now. Goods whose supply doesn't increase as price changes have perfect price inelasticity. So there are goods that do not change as the supply, as the price changes. So, and it is drawn like this. So this is called perfect inelastic supply. And here, elasticity is equal to 0. You know, this will be quantity. This is your price. So the answer is option C, 32. The mean as statistical value is relevant because it can be obtained graphically. The value is unaffected by extreme values. All the data are used in calculation. It presents discrete data average logically. The answer is C. It makes use of all the data in its calculation. 33. The supply curve of a firm can be equated to A, total fixed cost, B, average cost, C, marginal cost, D, variable cost. The answer is marginal cost. Now, the graph of supply curve is like this. It is drawn this way because it is positive and direct, which is an increase in price will lead to an increase in quantity. This is for supply. Supply. The same thing with if you draw your cost curve. Now the marginal utility is drawn, marginal curve is drawn this way. So the answer is marginal cost, C. 34. Which of the following best describe various types of market? Labor, products, capital, salaries, rent and dividends, products, profit and interest, money, wages and labor. I've told us that the other time I said the answer is A, labor, product and capital market. A, question 35. Movement along the same demand curve is otherwise known as movement along the same demand curve is otherwise known as shift in demand curve, change in quantity demanded, increase in demand, change in average utility. The answer is change in quantity demanded. Now, if you're talking about change in demand and change in quantity demanded, now change in demand is a shift in the demand, either to the left or the, that shift can either be a contraction or an expansion. Now, it's a shift in the demand caused by changes in other factors affecting demand, while price is held constant. And graphically, it is drawn like this. Demand is is negatively sloped, so it can either be an increase or a decrease. This is change in demand. Why change in quantity demanded is caused when there is a change in price, while other factors are ahead of us. And now, what are these other factors? We have price of other commodities, we have climate, we have income, we have taste, we have government policy, we have weather, we have fashion, and the like. So now, when those ones are ahead constant and prices is changing, then you say it is change in quantity demanded, and it is drawn this way. Something like this. This is a change in quantity. So this one is called a movement, which is change in quantity demanded. This one is called a shift. So the answer is change in quantity demanded, option C. 36. The negotiation between trade unions and employers for higher wages is called strike action, lookout, work to rule, collective bargaining. The answer is collective bargaining. Now, some questions can call it negotiation. So it is called collective bargaining, option D. 37. General rise in the price level is induced by increase in price of input is called dash. A. Runaway inflation, demand pull inflation, imported inflation, cost push inflation. The answer is cost push inflation. Now, runaway inflation is also called hyperinflation. It can also be called hyperinflation or skyrocketed inflation. Is when price of something jump indiscriminately. Why demand pull inflation is an inflation that is caused by an increase in demand with a low supply. So this one we happen due to rationing. You have to start rationing it. We know when you have scarcity, either it's artificial or normal. Now this one is why imported inflation is when there's an increase in import duties paid on goods imported. So automatically such goods will also be sold at an high price. So the answer is D, cost push inflation. So it's an increase in the cost of production. So D. 38. Where labor is insufficient to make effective use of natural resources, the country is said to have underpopulation. Underpopulation is when resources is more than labor. Over is when population is more than resources. Optimum is when both are alive, and active population is can also be called active population or labor force or work population, that the people in the population that are actively engaged in production process. So the answer is A, under population. 39. Highways and defense highways, all these are roads and defenses which are provided for by the government are best described as scarce goods, necessary goods, public goods, producer goods. The answer is C, public goods. They are goods that are meant for satisfaction of citizens, to create or to provide essential social services. So the answer is C, public goods. 40. If a 10% fall in the price of a commodity leads to a 25% increase in its quantity demanded, it is described as A, inelastic, elastic, unitary elastic, perfect elastic. So the answer is elastic. Why is it elastic? Which is option B. Why? Because under price elasticity, the formula for price elasticity, because you can be asked to, is percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price. And I've been given this one to be 25% over 10%. So this will give you 2.5. And our elasticity, price elasticity, is of 5 types. We have what we call the unitary. When it's equal to 1, we have the inelastic. When it is greater than 0 but less than 1, we have the fairly elastic, greater than 1 but less than infinity. We have the perfectly inelastic. When it's equal to 0, we have the perfectly elastic when it's equal to infinity. So all of these things have their graph, but for the sake of the question, now this is greater than 1 but less than infinity. So the answer is elastic, so which is option B.